Hello everyone, my name is Jay-Z and welcome back to the 12-month gold challenge. In January, we established our baseline by farming raw materials and selling everything directly on a trading post, which gave us a steady and predictable gold per hour number to compare everything against. If you haven't seen that one, I highly recommend checking it out. For February, we're stepping things up. This month is all about map metas and world bosses. On paper, they should easily outperform raw material farming. But strength and consistency are not always the same thing. So the goal this month is simple. How strong are map metas really when treated as a structured gold making method? Map metas are large-scale, map-wide events where dozens of players work together towards a final objective. Sometimes that means defending lanes or defeating a massive boss, and sometimes it is all about chaining multiple events together for a final reward. The best part? Anyone can join. You don't need legendary gear or a meta build, you just show up, follow the commander's tag and get to work. Compared to January, this immediately felt more active, more social, and potentially far more profitable. But the real question remained, by how much? And at what cost? Early on, the results looked incredibly promising. The Heart of Thorns metas felt especially strong. Running through Verdant Brink at night, moving into Tangled Depths for Jack Garand, and then heading straight into Auric Basin for Octavine creates a very natural rhythm. If you have more time, you can even finish a cycle in Dragon's Stand. These events are fast, coordinated, and reward heavy. But what surprised me most is that Heart of Thorns was not the only strong performer. End of Dragons and Seekers of the Obscure metas also delivered very solid numbers. One thing became clear almost immediately. Even if you take Heart of Thorns completely out of the equation, this method still outperforms raw material farming. One run in Seitong province during the Battle of the Jade Sea yielded 11 gold and 85 silver in just 45 minutes. Even at that amount, it nearly doubled what I would normally earn from a full hour of raw material farming. Then there is the legendary Leyline Anomaly. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes to defeat and guarantees a mystic coin. In terms of gold per minute, it outperforms almost everything else in the game. However, and this is extremely important, it only rewards you once per day. And that limitation changes everything. At first glance, metas feel farmable, but most major rewards are daily. You cannot endlessly repeat Jack Garand for full value. You cannot run Octavine over and over for the same rewards. World bosses lose their main payout after the first completion. This means metas are not a traditional farm. They are a daily burst of value. And that realization shifted the entire experiment. Because now the question becomes not just how much they pay, but how often you can realistically run them. Another issue quickly became clear. Metas run on strict timers. World bosses often die in 5 minutes, but you might wait 10 minutes between each one. And if you're not in the map early enough, that map can fill up entirely. Because this challenge is about clean data, I could not farm nodes or do side events while waiting. That would skew the results. So sometimes I found myself simply standing there, waiting for the next event to start. Normally, metas feel social and relaxed. You can chat, you can joke around, you can enjoy the spectacle. But when you're doing it purely for structured data, the waiting becomes very noticeable. To properly test this method, I decided to take it one step further. Instead of casually jumping into events, I built a strict timer-based schedule. I committed to a full 12-hour stream from 10 in the morning to 10 at night, with 2-hour breaks in between. 10 actual hours dedicated purely to map metas and world bosses. No detours, no side farming, just the schedule. And something unexpected happened. Instead of feeling like a grind, it turned into one of the best streams I have ever had. Guild members showed up, viewers from Twitch jumped in the train, and the energy stayed high from start to finish. A massive thank you to everyone who joined, especially the Guild Rift and OG, for donating materials so we could give back to the community. And if you ever want to hang out live, whether it is experiments like this, meta trains, or just regular Guild Wars 2 sessions, you can find my Twitch linked in the description. But underneath all that fun, this was still a controlled data test, because with this stream, it gave us a second, very different number. Over the course of this month, I logged a total of 20 hours focused purely on map metas and world bosses. To properly test the extremes, I ran 2 separate 10-hour sessions. The first test only counted active event time, just the minutes it actually took to defeat a boss or complete a meta. Across those 10 active hours, the total came out to 128 gold and 73 silver. On paper, that looks incredible, but it's not realistic. Because in the real game, you do not chain bosses back to back without pauses. You wait for timers, you swap maps, you sometimes arrive late, and sometimes you fail. During the 10-hour stream, we actually failed one major meta event. It ran for about 40 minutes and gave us nothing in return. That is part of the risk. So for the second test, I included everything, and that session resulted in 58 gold, 36 silver, which brings the realistic average to 5 gold and 83 silver per real hour played. And that is a number that truly represents casual meta farming. Compared to January's raw material farming, which averaged a 6 gold and 42 silvers per hour, metas show higher burst potential during active events. But once waiting time and risk are included, raw material farming remains slightly more consistent and more profitable on average. Both work, they simply serve very different playstyles. This month proved that map metas are powerful, but not infinitely farmable. They were worth planning, timing, and coordination. Next month, we head out to the Silver Wastes and see how it compares to both steady farming and structured meta trains. If you want to see the full data breakdown, the Google Sheet is linked in the description. So what about you? If you only had 2 hours to play, would you choose metas or raw farming? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in Tyria.